Average daily subsidy across the sector remained relatively flat, nudging up about 25 cents to about 194. And the private operators managed their average of $200 a day ADS throughout the August period. The August submission data showed that providers are not willing to take their foot off the gas when it comes to ACFI submission activities. Now, even whilst juggling the ANAC reclassifications from their shadow assessment data. About 9.5% of all resident ACFIs were submitted during the month, now up 0.75% from the July period. Revenue teams and ACFI coordinators will certainly be feeling the stretch on their available capacity as many providers are trying to manage ANAC reclassification processes at the same time as continuing their ongoing ACFI assessment activities. The percentage of claims greater than 12 months increased slightly for the industry, with the for-profit providers jumping 1.3% of their total claims now being older than 12 months in age. There's continued growth of allied health claiming through the pain management procedures as providers continue to focus on their final ACFI claims of the month. As it stands, it looks like the sector will finish ACFI with circa 57% of their claims in Medicare having a 4B associated with it. Now, despite another big month for respite claiming, total occupancy levels fell again throughout August. The sector achieved a further 11% gain of respite bed day usage across August, which built on top of the 13% increase achieved in July. The concerning trend, though, is why aren't these respite admissions converting into permanent admissions? And with that, total occupied bed days slid further in August and is now sitting at 86.58% for the industry. With these levels of occupancy, I don't foresee any provider avoiding admissions in fear of tipping over the direct care minute obligations next month when ANAC comes online. We saw a widening of the new versus discharge rates with all three industry segments, which shows signs that providers will take any permanent admission available to them. Another notable trend over this calendar year is the proportion of residents with a length of stay that is less than 6 months. A metric that typically fluctuates between 25% and 30%, but has not exceeded 25% since November of 2021. Now, with occupancy remaining at the 86% mark for the sector, the for-profit operators are still falling out of favor with new admissions from hospitals, as they slid a further 4.5% over August, achieving only 16% of their permanent admissions from hospital as compared to the 25% achievement rate by the not-for-profit providers. And with that, the typical admission over August reflected a slightly younger 84-year-old consumer with an average acuity of 178/79. As we now complete our first quarter of the improved financial and prudential compliance reporting, providers will need to submit their first quarterly financial report, or QFR, by November 4th. As part of the Royal Commission's recommendation 122, providers will have 35 days allocated after the end of the first quarter to report these new data points. Now, as we adjust our reporting to account for the direct care minutes, providers will have an entire year before the Safety Quality Commission and the systems governor will regulate our services of non-compliance with these direct care minute evidence. Now, in preparation for that, we saw gains across the board. There was nearly an 18% jump in direct care time and a 22% jump in RN minutes achieved over the August period. Agency minutes was the standout amongst all segments, moving 46% spike from the previous month. And with ANAC bringing both revenue and a cost outcome in the form of care minute requirements linked to funding classes, providers will need to gain control of their data so they can forward plan their rosters and ANAC case mix classifications to ensure they remain compliant to the required care minutes, but also remain optimized through their fortnightly rostering periods for the EBIT performance of their individual services.